Well, hey, you, and welcome back to another episode of the Miss Michaela Mae Show. I'm your host, Miss Michaela Mae, here with my corgis, Tank and Willie. And at the beginning of this podcast, I did some culture celebrity talk, and that's what we are talking about today because I've been thinking about an idea and a concept for a little bit, and I wanted to share it with you. And the concept and the idea is, why is Taylor Swift as big as Taylor Swift is? And my perspective on it, I don't hear people talking about, which is the reason that I wanted to share it with you today, because it's really simple and really easy to look at the obvious things. What I want to do today is look at the not so obvious things. And for me, where this was revealed was in her sit down episode with Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey. And to be completely blunt with you, I am a new Taylor Swift. So, what I said in my last episodes about Taylor Swift, I'm going to just do a quick rundown here. I listened to Taylor Swift when she was very, very new. When she was a country singer, saw her open for George Strait. It was her, George Strait, Ronnie Millsap. Because I actually didn't care for her music, saw her live. I loved her live, and she was just very innovative, even back then. Like, I had been to quite a few concerts, and watching her perform at 16 with her debut album under her belt, even back then, very, very innovative. So after that, got more into her music. I really liked the debut album. Again, probably seeing it live really influenced that. Didn't really listen to Fearless until my cousin introduced me to Fearless. Then I listened to Fearless and then did not listen to her music again other than like the big hits. Like I would hear Blank Space and I'm trying to shake it off. And I knew you were trouble. Like I'd heard the big hits that were on the radio, but did not listen to a single album until Tortured Poets Department came out. And then have listened to Life of a Showgirl. And I'm kind of making my way back through the catalog. Have listened to 1989 now. Have listened to Lover, a little bit of Midnights. There's some songs I really like on Midnights. And then I'm still working my way through. So not compared to most people in the Swifty multiverse, I'm not that well diversed. We'll just put it that way. And really, what got me to really dive into Taylor Swift as a musician was that episode with Travis Kelsey, Taylor, and Jason, because I've been more of a Miley girl. I love Miley. I grew up on Hannah Montana. I absolutely adore Miley Cyrus. So I've just been more when it comes to celebrity pop culture, stuff like that, millennial culture. I've just been more into Miley than I have Taylor. And for some reason, it was like, you're a Miley girl or you're a Taylor girl, but you're not both, which is, that was what was in my head, which is not true. Obviously, you could be both, but that was in my head. It's like, you're a Miley girl or you're a Taylor girl, but you're not both. And so I was like, I'm a Miley girl. I love Miley, love Hannah Montana. If Miley ever does an Eras tour, take my kidney, take a left leg. I don't need it. Like, I will be going to that tour. I don't care what it costs. I will pay to get the bougie seats, front row, doesn't matter. Like, just love Miley. But I was listening to a conversation with Miley, and even if you go watch, and I am going to do a reaction to this, but even if you go watch Miley Cyrus sing Maybe at ATX, she gives just such a profound speech. And then you can just tell, like, because she was talking about Janis Joplin in this speech, and there's like, she loves art and she loves music and she loves what she do, but there's also this other pressure. And what was revealed in the podcast, she was on Sorry We're Cyrus with her mom and Brandy. What I think was revealed is there is a part that Miley does for her, but there's also a part, because she even said, like, we all know I'm living my mom's dream. And I think there's a pressure because she said how important her mom is. And I think there's a pressure to live up to that dream just for her mom. And so there is some stuff that Miley does for her, but I do believe there's a lot of it that Miley's doing for her mom. And that's where some of this internal struggle comes in. And another reason I believe Miley is not as big as Taylor, because when you listen to that Jason Kelsey on the New Heights podcast, that interview, I'm like, how do I shorten this sentence up? Because I don't need to keep saying that over and over again. You can see how much Taylor Swift loves music. You can see Taylor Swift is doing this for Taylor Swift. And that's what I think is so interesting about when we look into what's motivating us. How do we find a powerful motivator? Because Taylor Swift loves music and like everything about music. Like Taylor Swift is motivated by Taylor Swift. Where if we're keeping up with this comparison, where Miley, not that she's not devoted or motivated by her art to a certain extent, but they're also, I do feel this pressure and motivation from Miley of like, she's still doing this for somebody else. And that's this weird conundrum that she is in that has not been able to keep her with the success that Taylor has experienced, where again, Taylor really loves her music. I mean, I couldn't believe listening to her talk about music, talking about her masters and all of this stuff. And I finally was like, I get why this woman is as big as she is. I 100% get it. I did not get it after listening to her talk about it. And then, of course, seeing how she engages and interacts with her fans. I'm like, I am not surprised. Because even, I was born in 95. I was listening to Joe Rogan talk about it's really hard for people that were not born early enough or not old enough to see how big Michael Jackson was. Like, it's really hard for people to understand like how big he was. And even in that, Michael had a pressure. Like there was this darkness inside of Michael, of this conflict of, because he was forced into this music industry. And I think he loved the music and I think he loved bringing the art to life. But he's even talked about like, I don't like to tour, where Taylor loves every aspect of this industry. I'm not saying she like, that was extreme. Like, it's not that she doesn't like, because she's made the comments of like, get a good lawyer and the politics and obviously her. So I'm not talking about like the back end stuff, but when she talks about the tour and her intention, when she talks about writing, the artistic process. There we go. I was going to say, I just clarified myself because I'm like, I did not say that well and I'm not editing it. So there we go. But, not talking about the technical aspect of the music industry, but the actual creative process of the music industry. Listening to Taylor on the New Heights podcast, I didn't feel personally that there was not an aspect she didn't like. She loves writing. She loved the production piece. She's so intentional about the tour and loved connecting with people in that way. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised she's as big as she is. And that is why I believe she's as big as she is, because of her love for music and because she's doing it for Taylor. And, in our culture, we're taught to like, don't be selfish, don't be selfish. Like, you got to do things for other people. But we don't talk about how many people have crisis, like breakdown after their parents pass away because they realize they've been living their lives for their parents their whole life. And I think if nothing else, I think we should take this gift and this lesson from Taylor Swift of that is the power of when we really tap into our core desires and we are motivated from within. That is success is possible. Maybe not on that scale, but to that level of mastery. Like, we really can get that good at our craft when it's something that is true to our soul and we allow ourselves to be motivated from within and not without. So that is all my thoughts on why I believe Taylor Swift is as big and famous as she is. And yeah, that's a wrap on this episode of the Miss Michaela Mae Show. If you feel so called, if you're on YouTube, I would love for you to rate. That's the podcast, Michaela. If you're on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe and leave a comment letting me know your thoughts. Why do you think Taylor Swift is as big as she is? And if you're on the podcast, I would love for you to rate and review the show and letting me know what you enjoy and what you would like to see next. Until next time, I'm your host, Miss Michaela Mae, with my corgis Tank and Willie, and we will talk to you next time.